Never miss an episode of the Final Furlong podcast. Subscribe now on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. And now, here's your host, Emmet Kennedy.
You're welcome to the weekend preview. It is great to have your company. The applause begins straight away for the 25-1 winner from Andy Newton. Darkness hits the back of the net. Andy, how do you do it, Andy? How do you just keep finding these big priced winners every single week? And how confident are you that you're going to do it again this week?
We might have a couple lurking around. I don't know if they're 25-1, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. It was a bit of a punt on the mirror form of that race. And as I said last week, if you watched its previous race back, it was just a bit unlucky, got going too late. And that's exactly what happened, wasn't it? Goodwood, it got the gap and flew. So yeah, we just need that Comanche Falls though, didn't we? That would have been
if he'd gone in.
That would have been the Dubai all over, bang. But anyway,
Dubai, Barbados, all of the 5-star destinations, first-class flights. Hey, maybe it'll happen this weekend. Maybe it will. It's great to have your company for the weekend preview. The main man with the big price winners, Andy Newton, back with us, alongside the returning George Gorman after living it up on the festival music scene. Well, not really. Poor man got very, very sick. And by the way, was perfectly behaving himself. He was trying to be a nice fella and got punished for being nice. But he's here to supply us with loads of winners. And the man who continues to be in red-hot form. How many winners did I see on your promo tweet today, Peter? And how many of them were double-figure priced winners, left, right, and centre at Peter Michael Racing on X?
A lot. I can read them for you if you want. I'm only messing. There's a lot of them. In the last 2 weeks, we've had a serious amount of winners to, turn August around into a profitable month following an excellent month the month before. Yes, a serious amount of winners. And we have one running in 20 minutes. It's a 3-point bet. So hopefully that will win. I'll be watching it from here.
I have never seen Peter do a 3-point bet yet. So I'm very intrigued.
We've had a few. Yeah. We've had a few. Most of them do, we're well up on them anyway.
Brose 14-1, It's a Heartbeat, SP 11-1, One More Dance 7-1, Give Him a Chance 13-2, Promise Time 11-2, Tariance 11-2, Inishmore 100-30, Tuco Salamanca 3-1, Ombudsman 2-1. Demetrius 3-1, Step Dance 7-4. If you would like more winners like that, at Peter Michael Racing on X, you can find out more about the Telegram group from there. Okay, we're gonna preview the weekend's racing. We're going to begin, though, with the feature race, the most interesting race of the entire weekend, and that's the Solario Stakes, and then we're going to work backwards and go through it chronologically, but we'll begin with the best of it, with the cream rises to the top. This year's Solario Stakes looks a really, really strong renewal. Once again, it's the Gosdens versus Charlie Appleby. Gosden has won this with Ravens Pass, Kingman, Too Darn Hot, Field of Gold, to name but a few. He's got the favourite Publish, a Kingman colt who was very unlucky not to win on debut after bolting up here the next day. His stride data and sectional efficiency suggests he's got real class, and the Gosdens obviously have got a terrific record in this race. Charlie Appleby's got Pacific Avenue. He beat Wild Desert on debut. That horse franked that form in group company, the Superlative Stakes, when he was very well backed late on. I'm surprised that's actually not running in this race. So that form has been boosted. Humidity looks a really interesting runner in this race. He's almost unconsidered in the betting, having won the Chesham Stakes, disappointing at Goodwood the other day. And a bit of Spirit is going to be an interesting one for the Clive Cox team as well. It's the 7 furlong BetMGM Solario Stakes, the Group 3. George Gorman, what do you make of it?
Yeah, look, it's one of those races. Obviously, they're all very much priced up on potential here. Like, you've got Publish, who's a maiden winner, impressive maiden winner, but a maiden winner. The horse that beat that horse on debut obviously went on to get beat again since. However unlucky Publish may have been. Pacific Avenue, you've obviously got a decent bit of form there with having beat Wild Desert by a head on debut, who's gone on to while he hasn't won since, he was only beaten a length and a half in that Group 2 at Newmarket. So that at least shows like that there's some substance that form. While
he was very unlucky too, George. He got carried across the track. His momentum was buried towards the end of the race too.
Yeah, he was 100%. He made a huge impression on debut. He won by 6 lengths, but again, it's only at Beverley. So you're left with this sort of thing and going, well, which horses are actually proven at the level? And I would take a punt on those horses at this sort of level. Which you got Humidity is already a listed winner, but obviously the Chesham's limited to horses that dressage have won over a certain distance, blah, blah, blah. I think if there's one that's overpriced and has shown itself to be at least a listed horse, it's a Bit of Spirit. With those 2 seconds in listed races at Ascot and Salisbury to his name. Look, you got beat at odds on the last day, but if you can find it in your heart to forgive him for that, he's, I think, the 3rd highest rated on RPRs in this. Yeah, 109, 110. Sorry, 2nd highest rated on RPRs in this, and you're getting 16 to 1. I wish there was one more place, but I'd probably have a small each way bet on a Bit of Spirit at that. And Clive Cox is, I think, 24% strike rate at the minute as well, so that sweetens the deal a little bit for me.
That's gas. I spent 2 hours on the phone with Adam Mills yesterday, and I spent 2.5 hours going back through this race. And Adam's a big fan of Publish, and I understand it. He's really carefully considering backing this horse for the Guineas now because he expects him to win this race. And then do you want to get stuck in? First of all, don't back a Goston horse for the Guineas. Don't do it. We've been here before. We've seen how this goes. Just don't do that. Secondly, is this horse? Is he that good? Is he? Should I go real high pitched? Like, maybe he is. Maybe he's an absolute superstar. Maybe Pacific Avenue is a superstar. I thought Pacific Avenue was very lucky to beat Wild Desert on debut. That horse got hemmed in at a crucial stage, and he was giving away a penalty. I thought Dougie Costello was the one who won that race, as opposed to the horse himself. It was a great ride from Dougie. Wasn't such a great ride from Pat. Thought Wild Desert should have beaten him, but hey, the form has been boosted, and it's a Charlie Appleby horse, so he can improve from first to second start, and you have to respect him. Published definitely improved from first to second start. He really should have won first time out. That was awful. But he was very, very good against Calatis, who's subsequently won, and obviously he comes from that Newmarket maiden, which Constitution River has significantly advertised the form of. Distant Storm, not so much, but he needs to improve on what he's done so far to win this, in my opinion. And a Bit of Spirit was definitely one of the horses that really interested me, particularly when he was 20 to 1. You can forgive the run at Salisbury the other day. He was way too free out in the front end. It was a 3-runner race. He was stepped up to a mile for the first time. He just didn't run his race. And the time before that, when he was beaten by Time to Turn, who he'd beaten on debut, Time to Turn challenged far wide and late, and he didn't really have the chance to be able to fight him. It was like Observatory Giants Causeway all over again. The horse wasn't eyeballed. So I'm pretty certain he's better than that, and Clive Cox has won this race before. But the play is Humidity. This is crazy. Humidity's 10 to 1 because why? Because he's been beaten in the Vintage Stakes? Oh no, he's useless. No, he's not. This is a very, very good horse. He won one of the hottest maidens run in Britain or Ireland at Newbury at the beginning of the season, first time out. He's a Ulysses who was speedy enough to win over 6 furlongs. That was insane. Then he beats the Secret Adversary in the Chesham at Royal Ascot. The Secret Adversary was disappointing in his next start, but then wins a listed race at Tipperary impressively from Brussels, who I think is a pretty useful horse. And the run at Goodwood, I would just draw a line through that. I'll forgive any horse that defeated Goodwood for one thing. But secondly, James Doyle was trying to get to the lead early on in the race, couldn't get there. This horse had made the running on his first 2 starts. And I think once he couldn't get to the lead, then he wasn't able to really be seen to best effect. And he probably didn't handle Goodwood. For all that his brother Holloway Boy ran a really big race in that very race, the Vintage Stakes, just because his brother did doesn't mean that he's the same thing. He's the highest rated on RPRs. He has the stride data that would tell you there's improvement to come. You're getting 10 to 1 about him. I think Oisin Murphy will go to the lead, try and make all, and if you can do that at Sandown, you can sometimes win. And I wouldn't be shocked if the 2 highest rated horses on RPR, Humidity and A Bit of Spirit, are the 2 who fight at the finish. So I'm going to take a swing with Humidity, tip and a wink and a nod to A Bit of Spirit. And if Publish comes and beats them all, Andy, then all right, I'll have to take my medicine.
Yeah, it's just like we've said many times before. It's just a shame there's not one more runner. I mean, we've got 7 in here, and you know, Humidity, A Bit of Spirit, and even the James Tate horse, who I'm not sure I've got to mention that he's Walim, who was, I think, was it at Beverley or somewhere? It absolutely bolted up. We don't know what it beat and so on. But there's plenty of each way value there. But obviously, only 2 places up for grabs, which is the annoying thing here. But I can see, look, the Publish thing, everyone's going to be, you know, last year, obviously, Field of Gold won it, same connections, Ono and all that palaver. Kingman again, obviously, he won it in 2013, this race. So everyone's just going to be like, oh, is this the next Field of Gold? And it might be. But, I mean, look, last time at Sandown, it sort of, there was a moment where you just thought, this is beaten. And then it went again. So it's going to improve for that. We all know that. The time of that race was sort of okay-ish, 1 minute 30. The time of Pacific Avenue's win 1 minute 26. So, 3 or 4 seconds quicker, obviously different tracks. So you have to sort of factor that in a little bit as well. And it's just that Appleby and Gosden, as you mentioned, they've won like 6 of the last 8 of this between them, I think 3 each. And the fact that Appleby had that Wild Desert in here as well. And I know what you're saying about the fact it did beat it last time, giving it, well, it was getting £6, wasn't it, with the penalty?
Yeah, carrying the penalty, yeah.
Carrying the penalty. But I think that it's worth pointing out that Wild Desert did have a run before that. It won at Haydock. So it still came out on debut, Pacific Avenue, and beat it. Obviously, that form's been franked, like you guys have mentioned, with Wild Desert, being unlucky at Newmarket, getting carried away by that Venetian lace. But the other horses in behind that Newmarket race, the Pacific Avenue one, Commander's Intent, Sunset of Leros, May Angel, they've all come out and won as well. And I know that the horse that Published beat, another Godolphin one, that Catalyst, has come out and won, but that was like 1 to 14 somewhere. So, it was going to win. You just sort of think that the form, the sort of depth of the form in that Pacific Avenue win is a little bit deeper for me, with the fact that all 4 of the horses it beat have all come out and franked it. So yeah, and look, there's a mental stat in this race that the draw for the last 5 winners of this race has been what? All of them have come from stall 5.
What?
Yeah, it's a weird thing that's built up, and there's probably not a lot in it to go on, because a lot of small fields over the years. But yeah, look, Field of Gold with 5, and you go back to 2020, every winner has been come out of stall 5. So you can look at it 2 ways. It's going to be broken sooner or later, or it might continue. Pacific
Avenue is an absolute stone cold solid moral lump on. Can't be beaten. Andy Newton with the facts and the stats and the thing. Why did I start talking like Mr. Frink in The Simpsons? Professor Frink with the stats and the things and the Yokimi Bobs. What am I doing? Oh man, I'm sick as a dog. I feel awful. Okay, who are you with overall, Andy?
Pacific. I think I like Publish, and I think it will improve. I just think Pacific Avenue's the slightly better value. The fact that Appleby had a couple in this, and he's gone. They're sort of pitching this one. So yeah,
okay,
Pacific Avenue.
Okay, Peter Michael, settle it for us. So we've got 3 different horses so far. Who are you with?
Well, I mean, we often hear betting is all about value, and I think this race is a good example, because I can't have Publish at 11 to 10. That's not to say he won't win. That's not to say he won't win. If he was 3 or 4 to 1, I'd be saying he's a super bet.
Yeah, that's what I agree. I exactly agree with that.
On potential. Do you know what I mean? You'd be betting him on potential. He's got as good a chance as anything in this field. But I can't be backing him at 11 to 10 because I don't think he's an 11 to 10 shot. Again, if he was 3 or 4 to 1, I'd be backing him and I'd be tipping him up. So it's not that I don't fancy him. I just don't think he's value at 11 to 10 at all. But clearly he has the potential to leave his form behind, because as we all know, first time out he got no run, finished in the bridle, and second time out he beat a good horse, and he beat him comfortably enough. But you can pick holes in the form, even of the first race as well, even if he'd won that. Wasn't the best Sandown novice stakes. Pacific Avenue, obviously you have to respect him, as you said, got a good ride from Doggy when winning at Newmarket. But again, I think he's on the short side, and the 2 I actually was looking at here and I thought were value, yourself and George are all over them, Humidity and A Bit of Spirit. I thought both of them were quite some way overpriced. Again, that's not to say they'll win, but they're the value of the race in my mind, and you have to respect. I mean, obviously I respect Publishing Pacific Avenue, and I wouldn't be surprised if the 2 of them fought it out. In no way at all. But I don't think any of them have value. You have to respect the James Tate horse as well. He's Wallum. I mean, he absolutely had to put Beverley. Recorded a 95 RPR, and I think that's the 3rd highest in this field. Only Humidity and A Bit of Spirit are ahead of him. But for me, I think the value play is both Humidity and A Bit of Spirit. I wouldn't be surprised if both of them are a good bit shorter come Saturday. Now we also must mention as well, lads, we're looking at this in good ground. It could be soft ground, so that could change everything, I'm
kind of hoping it is going to be softer ground, because I think softer ground is going to help a bit of...
Yeah.
Given there's something in A Bit of Spirit's pedigree that suggests to me that he's going to be okay on that, because Don't ask me to quote it to you exactly now, but there's definitely something there that made me think that. Is it the Dams?
It must be. Hold on. I'll get it up now.
No, it's not. She's related to... Oh, that's going to
yeah,
derail. That's what you're waiting for us to be delving into. Statistics about...
Humidity's Dams by Pivotal, so, I mean, that's a good sign for soft ground, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't... There's something about... There's a quote, I think, from Clive Cox about that wouldn't be a problem. The 10-1 about humidity is insane. It's very rare you get the opportunity to back an Andrew Balding horse who is... First of all, he's won this race before, a couple of times for that matter. This is a horse that Andrew Balding was talking about as being a potential Guineas contender, working their way towards the Dewhurst. And because of one defeat against who I consider to be the best 2-year-old in training, at a track that some horses just don't take to, you're now getting a double-figure price. Okay. Let's do it, shall we? Humidity 10-1, A Bit of Spirit 16-1, and Pacific Avenue 5-2 for Andy Newton. Choose your fighter. Who are you with for the big feature race on Saturday? It's live on ITV and on Racing TV. Best of luck to you in the Solario Stakes. We shall switch back to the 1:30 at Beverley. It's the William Hill Silver Cup. Crown of Oaks is a red-hot favourite at 6-4. I was feeling very smug when the declarations came through, only for two of the horses that I'd backed in the weekend scumbag each way multiple to be not declared at all, and so it was completely and utterly useless, that bet. But anyway, Crown of Oaks is now 6-4 and is going to take an awful lot of beating, I would imagine. One off an opening handicap mark of 79. Now runs off 85. Is a half-brother to a 10 furlong Group 3 winner, Forest of Dean, for the Godolphin team, and really should have improvement in him for the Haggis team. And William Haggis continues to win everything, George Gorman.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, it's you sort of know me by now. I'm not in the habit of backing horses that have gone up. What's he, £6 for winning by 3/4 of a length? I don't know if it's the jumpsman in me, but it always goes up £6 winning by 3/4 of a length. It's still quite jarring as someone that's mostly into jump tracing, but he's obviously improving, and these Wootton Bassets can't do too much wrong at the moment. But it wouldn't be my sort of bet. Like, of the ones to the top of the market, Desert Shadow going up £1 for finishing second to Danger Man could look very, very lenient by the end of the weekend if that horse goes and wins in 3 o'clock at Sandown. Financer, I think probably there's just a few of these I think are probably handicapped right up to their best. So I'd rather take one I think there might be a bit of wiggle room at a bigger price, and I landed on the Roof Car horse there, Dawn of Liberation. So if you'll forgive me a second.
16-1.
Yeah. Course and distance winner from one run at Beverley. Blew out last time, but that was the horse's third run in 2 weeks. Had a 2-week break now and back off a mark. He's certainly been competitive off this mark in the past, like even last season, ran very well off this sort of mark. But 2-3 starts back, he was able to go quite close off this sort of mark with a £5 claimer on. That's the only thing I was really hoping we would have a claimer on board when it came in, but I'm still happy to give this horse a little squeak, especially at an each way price like that. That half a length third to Riker off this mark still stands. And listen, I'd rather there another £5 off, but we're certainly competitively weighted at a track that this horse enjoys, and I think a track that takes a fair bit of knowing. And this horse certainly doesn't seem to mind it there. At 16-1, I'd be happy to take a chance. The Roof Car stable form isn't much to shout home about, but how often is it? In the nicest of ways, she runs a lot of horses. It's not she doesn't get winners. She just runs these horses because she doesn't. I don't know if it's still the case, but I'm sure she used to not ride them at home. She sort of chases them around an arena to get them fit, and that's why they're able to run so often. Is they're not carrying weight at home. I'm not sure if that's still the way she does things, but it certainly was a few seasons ago. But yeah, like how often would you see a horse like this? Runs over a mile too, and it seems to run every other week, basically.
Yeah.
But yeah, little break to freshen up after the disappointing run the last day. Competitively weighted, 1-1 at Beverley over this course and distance. I'll be happy to take a chance at a big price.
Okay, 16-1 shot for George Gorman. with Ruth Card's Dawn of Liberation. I'm with Haggis, Andy Newton. I think a mark of 85 grossly underestimates what Crown of Oaks is capable of. It's his second run of a gelding operation, second run in a handicap. It's only the fifth run of the horse's life, and William Haggis just is sweeping the board left, right and centre.
Yeah, Haggis is flying still, as you mentioned, and strike rate at Beverley as well. I think it's something like 28% with his 3-year-old. So I think everyone's just sort of latching onto it though. I mean, the money's coming already. I mean, I looked a minute ago, 6-4. I'm sure it was 5-2 the other day. So it's going to be the obvious one. I don't know. It has been beaten twice as a favourite. Couldn't put you off it. It's just, will it improve for that last run? And you can sort of pick some holes in that form. I think the second, third, and fifth of its last win at Ayr have all been beaten since. So it's just, but it was impressive. So it's one of those ones that I'm not going to sort of, put you off it. But because it's being backed, like George said, then there is some sort of value lurking around. And the strange one, that Dawn of Liberation, which George has just mentioned, that the horse that beat it last time, the Mark Wolford one, that Spirit Delta, was it was actually getting £4, I think, from Dawn of Liberation that day. But for some weird reason, it's now getting £7.
Yeah.
Warren Fentiman was on Dawn of Liberation that day as well. So actually it's like £12 better off, and it beat it. The Mark Wolford camp are going all right at the moment. I think when I looked the other day, they were sort of like 40% strike rate. And it was just a bit of an odd one, that one, but because it's beaten the horse and it's actually £12 better off with that Dawn of Liberation. So something to go on there. And the other one I sort of came down on only because Julie Camacio's got quite a good strike rate again at the track. She's going all right at the moment. I think she's got 26% strike rate at 4+-year-olds. That Titian. Last time, I think you could put a line through that. If you watch that race back, and it came fourth. I think it was an apprentice race, and whoever was on it that day, it was a bit of a kind ride, social, shall we say. I know they've got an apprentice on this time, but he's a bit more experienced, I think. Claims 5, won quite well the time before, off a mark of 77. It's only £4 up higher than that. So, yeah, I'd rather have a little bit of a swing on those two, that Titian and that Mark Wolford one, that Spirit Delta. Only because it's just odd that it's getting, it's better off of that Dawn of Liberation than beat it last time, but weird.
Okay. I'm going to go with, I'm sticking with Crown of Oaks. I'm going to try and buy Peter Michael a little bit of time here, but I don't think it's going to work.
No, it's okay. No, I'm watching it. It's just started. I don't know why we're so far back. But anyway, look, Crown of Oaks, I think, will take beating here. I'm a bit worried about the draw for him because I think he'll improve for further. But look, I don't think whilst it's, there's a few horses in that race you have to respect. He's definitely got the potential to leave his mark behind, and he'll relish the stiff finish the last furlong and a half in Beverley up the hill. He'll relish that. So he should be hard to beat in my mind if he doesn't get boxed in or if it doesn't become too tactical.
I completely agree. He's entered in the Cambridgeshire. Now he'd need to improve. But I just find it interesting that they have an entry for him in that race. And when you look at his pedigree, he's a half-brother to a 10 furlong Group 3 winner. He's a half-brother to English Oaks, who won a Royal Ascot handicap off a mark of 99 over 7 furlongs. State Occasion was a 10 furlong listed winner for Rafe Beckett as well. This is a horse who, in theory, should be a lot better than a mark of 85. So he really should be winning this race. And it's not going to be that much of a shock if his horse is being very, very competitive in a valuable handicap towards the end of the season.
Tony Bloom and Ian McAlevey as well are three winners from their last 5. Their last 3 have been Lake Forest getting beat half a length in a Group 1.
Sky Majesty, Venetian Sun.
Group 1 winner, and Sky Majesty, yeah. It's not a bad old shot, right? And Brighton won 5-0 last night, I think.
I mentioned if I look at the Palace score, they're playing now. They've just kicked off at 5.
Oh, in the Conference League?
Yeah, their second leg thing. They're 1-0 up, but they've playing in Norway at the moment.
Is Ashley Cole somewhere in the background screaming, Thursday nights, Channel 5? Nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with it at all. Although they should be in the proper one. But anyway, they got screwed. Okay, 150. Back to Sandown. It's the 7 furlong. Download the BetMGM Handicap Class 3. Cody Line is your 7-2 favourite from Headmaster for the Haggis. That man again, William Haggis, 11-2. Warral, 11-2. Galeron, 10s. God of War, 11-1. That was the worst I thought was going to win a decent race at one point. Oh, well. Elaraya Sand is a 12-1 shot. Don't mention the war to Peter Michael. He might go mental in a second. So, George Gorman, take it away. Who's going to win the 150?
I think my sort of starting place in this race was Warrawood. However far Sheikh Ahmed Al Maktoum will go to get all of his horses to have 7 letters in their name. I don't.
You have to admire it, really, don't you, George?
You do, but the double O and double D is a long way. I think it's a long walk to make that sound right. It might sound silly, but when you're talking with horses that are this little race, the horses sort of making handicap debuts, I always find that this horse run three times to RPRs of 78, 86 and 85. A starting mark of 85 seems very fair. As much you can't always trust those racing post ratings, the fact that he's run to an 85 and an 86 and has got a starting mark of 86 seems very lenient to me. He'll be certainly towards towards the tops of the betting. I'll be very interested in.
I can back you up, by the way, and tell you that the time form ratings adjusted are 88, 96 and 95, and all of them are pluses.
Yeah, it seems it seems like the sort of mark you get when you always run your horse on their merits, doesn't it? There were certain trainers we could mention whose horses would be rated 100 for doing the same thing.
Or not given a rating at all, George, and not allowed to run in one of the most valuable and prestigious handicaps of the entire season.
There's also that, yeah. There's many cases of horses going 4 or 5 runs that handicap mark for sure. The stories of when we get the Patreon set up, we'll give you all these stories.
When we have the Patreon set up, we will tell you all the Frankie Tightlips, Frank Berry stories that you want to hear.
Yeah. The Tom Coates I thought was of passing interest as well. The fact that back off mark of 93, a mark that he was only beating a neck off of on seasonal debut. Last time wouldn't give you loads of encouragement. Again, it's sort of, yeah. Are they? Were they just trying to get down to a mark like this? And that last run was over a longer trip. One that did interest me right down towards the bottom is this Arctic Grey. You have to look back. He's been gelded since his last run. If you look back 3 starts, the last 2 weren't much copping. Strong handicaps, admittedly, but 3 starts back, Goodwood beat Fort George a neck, who went on to win 2 starts later. That's a rock solid piece of form and a racing post rating of 94 for that. If this gelding up has worked and focuses his mind a bit more, this horse should be very, very overlooked in the market. I think 25. If someone had said to you straight after that race, you'd be going off 25-1 off a mark of 90. You'd have bitten their hand off, and that probably be the one at a bigger price I'd be inclined to take a little punt on. But I'd say my main selection would be Warrood, if that's how we're going to say it. But so Warrood, but for the each way punters, Arctic Grey is well worth keeping an eye on. I'm
pretty certain I'm not having a bet in this race, but if I am having a bet, if I'm putting something in for the interest in a Super Heinz or a Lucky 63, Warrood is the one I'd put in. But I think this is a race I'm going to be skipping. Andy?
Yeah, it's a tough race, isn't it? I mean, look, all of the last 4 have been drawn 6 or lower. So that's Cody Line, that Warrood, that George has put up, that Walson's Law, Cavallo Nero, Kindest Nation, and Yokel down the bottom. So might be something to go on there. And 2 of the last 4 have been drawn 6, which is that Caballero Nero, and Murphy's actually won 2 of the last 4 as well. So and he's on that Elaraya Sand for Ollie Sangster. So bits and bobs of stats to go on there. Another Haggis one. Look, they got a 31% strike rate with their 3-year-olds here. That Headmaster was given a bit of a shocking ride at Goodwood by the Japanese guy. I can't remember his name now. Murari Iwota or something was his name. But it was absolutely smashed up. I think we put it up that day, or one of us did, and it was something like, I don't know, double figures when we did the poddy, and it ended up going off something like 2-1 favourite. And then fell out the back of the telly. But, it was impressive the time before. at Haydock. Could easily bounce back with, Tom Mark 1 taking over. And the other ones I sort of came down on was that Walson's Law, drawn 1. Mentioned that's already a good draw. Last time at Newmarket, it was sent off, fairly well fancied, 100 to 30, bombed out. I think the connections gave the ground good to soft that day as a bit of an excuse. So, any more rain at Sandown would be a little bit of a worry. But, look, before that, it was quite impressive at Newbury on good to firm, off a mark of 78. It's up, £7 here. But I think, if the ground or the rain does stay away, that Walson's Law could be a tad overpriced at about 12 to 1 from draw 1.
Just when I thought this was a race I was going to skip, Andy Newton comes along with a big price tip to drag me in. How bad was that ride, Peter Michael? And
no, it wasn't that bad. The horse just flattened down at the end. I mean, she was quite quite a long way back, considering the main market rival was prominent. But I don't know, maybe she just needed the run or something. It's very hard to predict that trainer and that syndicate. So, might learn my lesson from that. But that horse that I fancied there, just if she's not better than 43, well, Delacroix is better than Ombudsman.
You're gonna be so. We had such a big debate about this on TalkSport 2 today. You're gonna be eating your words come Irish Champions Weekend. Anyway, come on, who's gonna win this race?
And if you're approaching Graham Roadway standards now, you have to stop this. I know. This is only a bit of a joke.
Grey horses jump better.
You can still think Delacroix is better than Ombudsman.
Grey horses jump better. They just
You're above that. Come on, man. You're above that. No, going to this race, look, again, the weather's going to play a big part in this race, I feel. We're dealing with good ground. It could be soft. I don't know. But I think Warud will get his way in front here. She hasn't run for 100 days. So obviously, that's a bit of a concern. I don't know why. Headmaster should be racing prominent as well. Warud's by Dark Angel, so if the ground goes soft, that shouldn't really be much of an issue for her. Cody Lyon's a horse that I've been following and a horse I put up this year to progress, but I've been disappointed by her since she's gone to Michael Appleby. I might be a bit harsh because she's been consistent and ran some good races, but I thought she'd do better than she's done. But look, she's still a very I don't know why I keep calling her she. He's still a very likeable horse and, a good horse with a rating of 92. But I'm going to go for Warud and hope that Kieran Schumacher can get her out in the front and dictate. Headmaster will probably be putting a bit of pace pressure early enough on. I think the two of them might dictate this race, and I just hope Warud can, continue her winning ways.
I would say, just as a point of interest, Headmaster was sent off 85 to 40 favourite at Glorious Goodwood, and then for whatever reason spectacularly blew out. But Marquand is back on board. The horse has been dropped a pound. If they were backing the horse at a mark of 88, then obviously a mark of 87 is something they fancy the horse for. It's not inconceivable this horse is going to bounce back in this race. That was a 0 to 105, drops in class to a 0 to 95. Actually, I might side with Headmaster just because of the Haggis record, but I'm not the biggest fan of backing horses that blew out spectacularly the last day, for all that I'm going to forgive any horse a bad run at Goodwood. Hence the support for humidity. Okay, back to Beverley for the 5 furlong William Hill Beverley Bullet Sprint Stakes, and yet again it's the Group 1 form sprinters, but they're dropping down to listed company. We've got regional, first time blinkers, wears the traditional tongue tie. He's got form with Sagir, Lazat, American Affair, Believing, and so he's a short price favourite. 7 to 4 with the sponsors William Hill. Adrestia, Royal Ascot hero, only 3 starts back and ran a massive race at Goodwood the other day. 4 to 1. Redonge for Clive Cox as well. He's got a couple in this race. He's also got Kurdos, and he's won this race 3 times in the last 4 years. Redonge with Oisin Murphy on board ran a really big race at Deauville the other day in listed company. There's going to be a big race in that horse. And then we got good old Curtis with Paul Mulrennan on board, a 6 to 1 shot, and he's got all that fancy sprint form as well. That doesn't really mean anything because it's just the roulette wheel spins. Who does it land on? In the listed division, George Gorman.
Yeah, look, I don't think they know what to do with regional for a start. It looked for all the world like 6 furlong was going to suit better coming out of Royal Ascot, and then I don't know. I think he looks like in his sort of older days now. Like he sort of struggles to lay up early over 5, but he doesn't quite get the 6. And I think the blinkers are a bit of a Hail Mary. I'm glad to see they've gone straight for blinkers. I don't like messing about with cheap pieces. Don't get me wrong, if I go to tip one, it's got the first time cheap piece, I will take it as a positive. But I like when they mean business, they go straight for the blinkers, find out what you've got. But am I going to take 7-4? Probably not. That Star of Lady M is actually just as well treated here as regional, but obviously had nearly a year off the track. Drestia ran well the last day, but you want a horse that's been beaten off 97 a handicap when you're talking about then competing in a listed race, but against group level sprinters. I think consistency's going to win the day here, and it's a horse that maybe owes me one at this point, but Red Orange has been a model of consistency all year. I think if 1 or 2 are a little bit tricky, he might be the one that can sort of come out on top. Like he ran a great race off 100 to only be beat half a length at Goodwood the 2 starts back, beaten a length and a half at Deauville, a listed race. Like he hasn't ducked a single battle all year, and he's performed admirably every single time. Even beating Ruby's Prophet at Chester turned out to be huge. So I think that horse went to win at least 1 or 2 after that. So yeah, Red Orange probably towards the top of the market. If I was going to throw in another one, it might be First Instinct. Like there's like we say, the Haggis horses are going well at the moment, and the form's not to be sniffed at. A lot of it's at listed level, which I suppose is this, but the run in the Sandy Lane was very good, behind Symbol of Honour and Arabian Dusk, but you had Big Mojo and Arizona Blaze in behind. The race at Air, Saratoga Special, beat her that day, did nothing, let the form down since. And then the last day, what do we run in behind? Arabian Dusk, Kalendi, Night Eyes, like, all nice horses in their own right. Probably just a bit overpriced here for me. I'm receiving the mayor's allowance as well. So what would that be for? Yeah, so fair bit to find with regional on figures still, but in terms of the rest, puts her right up with the best of them at 11-1. Probably underrates her chance a little bit. But I could even say the scumbaggiest each way bet of all time might be Red Orange, but I'd rather play Red Orange to win and maybe have First Instinct to sort of place only each way option at a decent price.
I'm taking the ain't nobody approach to this, in the sense that I want to swing for something at a big price, because this is it's a rubbish division. And with that in mind, Chagrin. Don't laugh. He got within 3 lengths of Rumstar, the highest rated horse in the Coolmore Nunthorpe Stakes was Rumstar, and he got within 3 lengths of him in Sandown in a Group 3. He was sent off favourite for a handicap of a mark of 101. He ran all right. Ran really well against Lethal Levi the other day at Newmarket. That was in listed class company. He gets Kevin Stott for the first time. Appleby's horses seem to be running better. He's won at this time of year. Why not? He's got form from last season with American Affair and a number of others, including this season as well, by the way. He got within 2 lengths of American Affair. The roulette wheel keeps on spinning. It lands on... These sprinters just keep beating one another every now and again, so I'm going to side with Chagrin. But it's not exactly confident. But at 20s, you don't have to be. Andy, who do you like?
Yeah, the draw's all right for that Chagrin. I mean, look, 10 of the last 12 have been 7 or lower, so that would be a little niggle with the consistent Red Orange. You know, you mentioned Clive Cox has got a good record in this, 3 of the last 4. Obviously, Paradox was one of those winners. He won it a couple of years ago and comes back as well. So, you know, that's drawn 7 next to Red Orange. So that's just about right. 7 of the last 11 have been even lower, 4 or lower. So, you know, regionals in 3, Dressiers in 1, and First Instinct, and that Star of Lady M is drawn low as well. So bits and bobs to go on there. And also the age. I mean, like, you've got a couple of 3-year-olds fancied at the top of the market there. And I think Kurdos was a 3-year-old when it won this, but I don't think there's been many. You know, I think 13 of the last 14 have been 4 or older. So that's another sort of stat to cling to, with especially with, like, you know, 3-year-olds at fairly top of the market there. So look, regional's a funny one because it should be winning this easily. Really, look, last time it dipped back into listed company, it won, but that was a while ago. I think it was like 2022 at Haydock or something. So the first time blinkers are a little bit of a worry. Some might put it as a positive. I don't know. And on the Ascot run, third, that's been franked since with the Nunthorpe winner coming out. But it's just the fact it's no winning 7. So I think, look, I'll take a punt on Kurdos just bouncing back. It's the first time it's come back to Beverley. Draw 7 is just about all right. Hasn't been running too badly, in its runs recently, not beaten too far. Obviously in Group 1s and 2s and 3s and so on like that. Down to listed again. And George mentioned that Star of Lady M. It's a massive punt on, we don't know why it hasn't been racing. It's 309 days, but it is a course and distance winner. The Amara Campus, okay-ish at the moment. Obviously did us a favour last week with that darkness. Drawn 2's all right. And as George said, on the adjusted sort of ratings, I think it's sort of bang on the same, isn't it, as regional? Yeah, exactly the same. So getting £5 and rated £5 lower. So, that there has been some money for it a little bit as well. I think it was 20, 25 pluses a couple of days ago. And I think I've seen some sort of 10s or 12s now. So people might latch onto that. Kurdos and Star Lady M, I think I'm just going to have a go on here.
Don't be shocked if O'Mara's Nostrum wins tomorrow at Thirsk, by the way. He's 33 to 1. He's back to 7 furlongs. I wouldn't be at all surprised if he bounces back into the
go in at some point, isn't it? Nostrum is definitely going to go in at some point.
He gets a first-time tongue tie as well.
I'd say on his stable form, his 16% pretty all right. But if you actually look down it, a lot of horses being placed at decent prices. So his runners to form is 59%. It's actually the strike rate would mislead you a little bit. I think they are turning a corner as a stable at the minute. So I wouldn't let the strike rate necessarily put you off. Look at the runners to form would be more of a proper guide to how they're running.
Yeah,
I mean that Star of Lady M. I mean, it had a really busy 2024. I think I look back and it had like 17 runs. And it did all right. I mean, it beat that Rage of Bambi. He's obviously come out on the Hackwood. It's just 309 days off, isn't it? We just don't know.
Well, if we're going to go with the Rage of Bambi argument, then First Instinct wins for William Haggis. That horse was in front of Rage of Bambi not so long ago, but I don't know. Can William Haggis keep winning everything, every single thing, Peter Michael? I'm not so sure. Who are you with?
Well, how long have you boys spent on this race? 10 minutes?
Probably.
Or so? It's real simple, lads, for God's sake. Reginald's just going to beat these. Seriously. He's just going to pop out the gates. He's going to absolutely ping the gates. They're not going to see which way he's going to go, and he's going to stay on well up the hill. Now, I mean, obviously, Blinker's first time, it's a bit risky. They mightn't take to it, but chances are this horse will. He's got more speed than most of these. Nice draw. If he doesn't beat these, they're in trouble. Simple as that. I mean, who's going to, back to 5 furlongs. A stiff 5 furlong, I think, is ideal for him. 7 to 4. I'd rather back him at 7 to 4 than publish at 11 to 10.
Well, I like that.
Well, look at his form, like Group 1, Group 1, Group 1, Group 3, Group 3, second, good horses who, and I think he's better over 5, and he's lightning. He can be, now, if he doesn't take to the blinkers, then he'll come nowhere. But if he takes to the blinkers, he's just going to ping the gates, and they won't see which way he'll go. So he'll either win or come nowhere.
£4 clear on RPRs, £5 clear on £5 clear on RPRs, £4 clear on time form, regional.
I mean, the nearest is Star of Lady M, am I right? But that horse hasn't ran for a year, basically. Yeah. So I think we're overcomplicating it, lads. And Star of Lady M as well is a horse who's progressed through the handicap ranks,
Okay.
Yeah, this looks 7 to 4. I'd make it more even money, because if it takes to the blinkers, it wins. If it doesn't, it won't.
Okay, and of course, Clive Cox has won 3 of the last 4 runnings of the race, so simple. We don't need to do a full big preview. Just cut it out. Just go.
Cut it out.
Just delete everything George said. Delete everything Andy said. Delete everything I said. Just go regional.
Straight to that. Yeah, exactly.
Play spot banker. That's it.
I don't know, but now you see that's the thing, because he could bomb out. I think he'll either win or come nowhere. That's what I think.
Okay,
but I think he'll win.
All right. BetMGM Atalanta Stakes Group 3. 2:25 Sandown. We're over the mile. We've got 14 runners. Blue Bolt is looking for her fourth consecutive run, although I don't know how she identifies. Fourth consecutive win. Andrew Balding and Colin Keane teaming up for Juddmonte 9-2. Aliyaba for William Haggis and Tom Marquardt 11-2. Cathedral's going to go very, very close in this race. She has to go close. You can forgive her the run the last day in France. Probably the extra furlong, the soft ground. Plus, I'm pretty certain the horse that beat her, she was dropping in class from having competed in the French Oaks the time before. I think she just stole it on the front end, and Cathedral just couldn't quite get to her. This race is going to work out a whole lot better for her. She's probably going to win. Although American Gal finished in front of that French horse in the French Oaks and ran a really good race at Ascot the other day when ridden on the front end. Now they were going to go. They had the option of going for another target, including one in Ireland, but they're going to go for this instead. She's probably overpriced at 10-1, but Cathedral's going to go very, very close here, George.
Yeah, I'm a big enough fan of Cathedral. I think it might have been one of my place onlys at Royal Ascot, I think, wasn't it? Yeah, behind Sir Steen. Yeah, well, I put up the 3 bets in the same race, I think. I think was the one. And I think that 2 out of the 3 came in. But yeah, I get what you're saying, 100%. Certainly back on better ground would have more of a chance. But I think Blue Bolt's just very highly progressive here. Course and distance winner already. Yeah, you can look at the marks all you want, but the marks don't mean a lot when a horse is progressing as fast as this horse. I think she'll take all the beating. The one that I think is completely the wrong price here is probably Cajole, given she was only a length behind the last day. I think it's just completely the wrong price. But if I couldn't understand it when I saw it. It looked like a pre-Dex price that someone thought wasn't going to declare. I can't see any reason to be any much further than length behind this time round. And maybe you could do the forecast if you're that way inclined. But I'd probably just back Blue Bolt to win, Cajole each way. I can't understand for the life of me why Cajole's the price she is here.
Well, she does have form to reverse with American Gal. It might have something to do with that.
She does.
But
she does, yeah.
That doesn't mean that she can't do it.
I just think last day was too bad to be... Well, not too bad to be true, because actually, in fairness, on RPR, it's only around a pound worse than when she was behind Blue Bolt. But I just think it's very simple from that perspective for me. I was like, well, she was good enough to finish within the length of her the last day. She'd probably be good enough to do it again, especially back at the same track over the same distance on similar-ish ground.
Okay, Andy Newton for you? Are you on mute, Andy?
I crying kids in the background. I thought I'd spare you listening to the wailing. So,
thank you for doing us that kindness.
Yeah, no. Look, what I was basically trying to say is I'm with you, George, with this. The Gosden horse Cajole here. I think it was only beaten a couple of lengths last time out, and if you watch again that ride back with Buick, probably only gave it a couple of hits. It was a bit of a sort of coasting it home job last time. In that Group 3 at Ascot, as you say, time before that it was only a length behind Blue Bolt. So, and again, probably could have got a little bit closer in that race. I think personally, it's only had 6 runs. Yes, look, the niggle is still looking for its first win on turf. 0 from 4. Its only win came on your weather. But the other interesting thing here is Sheevey Park do like this race.
Oh, I've got the stat.
You got the stat. Yeah,
I got the stat. The owners have won this race 4 times since 2013. Popova was 4th in 2021. Won it as a 4-year-old at a big price in 2022. Finished 3rd in 2023. They won it with a 3-year-old Voracious in 2018. And Persuasive in 2016 and Integral in 2013. And they've had other horses placed in the race as well.
Yeah. So for whatever reason, they do like this race. And they did have Sunfall a couple of days ago.
That's who I backed for it at 25s, but oh well.
Yeah, I was sort of coming down on both of them really, and they seem to be entering that all over the shop and then just pulling it out last minute, that Sunfall. But there's something to go on there. And don't forget that last race at Ascot as well, in that Group 3, the horse in 8th was that Lulu's Gift, who we obviously put up.
Who you put up at 12-1.
And that's come out, and obviously Frank the Form, Chantilly Lace was 3rd, American Gal. has a bit to find with that, who was second. But, he's second in the Sandringham as well to that Never Let Go. And there's just, look, the fact he hasn't won on turf, I won't weigh too much on that. I just think it's been given a couple of kind rides the last couple of times. And 16 to 1, like George pointed out, is a very big price. And the other one I think could be a little bit overpriced is Skellet, if you can just sort of forgive its last run as well. 8th, might not have handled Epsom. I think that was its first run for a while. And, look, it came 8th in the Irish 1,000 guineas last season. And, it's a course and distance winner, so we know that, the track's fine. So the probably other thing to mention, Spiritual came 4th in the race last year, but I'm not sure. I mean, Spiritual did, I think he won that race that Skellet ran in at Epsom, but that wasn't his true running. I mean, he was sent off 3-1 favourite for that Epsom race, the Ralph Beckett horse. So I just think that if you can forgive that, that's overpriced as well. So Cajole and Skellet for me.
Okay, I'm trying to do something here, which I'm hoping I can share with the listeners and the viewers. So as I try to desperately sort this piece of technical information out, Peter Michael, who's going to win?
Well, I mean, fiercely competitive, 9-2 the field. I'm going to concentrate on Blue Bolt and Spiritual. I think they'll be ridden forward. American Gal is another one as well who likes to go forward. I'm a fan of horses being ridden prominent in Sandown. Again, we have to mention we're in good ground at the moment. There's about 17 mils due between now and race day. So we could have very soft ground. So we don't know what we're racing on, which makes it harder for us. If the ground did go soft, that would suit Spiritual. He'd have no problem. She'd have no problems with that. Blue Bolt is a horse who I like. She's progressive, as George said. She's got a pretty good turn of foot. She's never raced in soft ground if it does go soft. So I don't know how effective her turn of foot will be on that ground. We'd just be guessing. Although Colin Keane was quoted to saying, I think she'll race in anything. But we haven't seen that in track yet. So yeah, look, they're the two I'm going to put forward, Blue Bolt and Spiritual. I think one of them will go close anyway, depending on the ground. I'll probably have a small bet on both of them in this race because the odds allow. One's 92 and one's about 9-1.
We have a new favourite for the Reed Meg Nichols blog at betmgm.co.uk handicap. The Class 2 with 14 runners, 3 o'clock Sandown. Sadad is your new favourite for this race. 130 is the current price. Usurps Dangerman. I think most people were just assuming was going to be a pretty short price for this race. Kieran O'Neill will be on board for John and Thady Gosden. Tom Marquand is on Castle Cove for William Haggis. That horse is trading at 11-2. Is it another Haggis winner this weekend? Shout out Josh Moore and Gary Moore. David Egan on board Alpha Circus. I'm sure we'll get a full breakdown from George in a second. But Sadad's a half-brother to Al McCann, who may very well win a Group 1 before the season is out. Twice a winner at Sandown, listed a Group 3 company. Half-brother Saliam won a 7-furlong handicap off 103 at Haydock on Good to Firm, and York handicap off 99 over 7 furlongs. He's still entered for the Group 1 Kipco Champion Stakes with his brother. He had Dangerman 83 and 3/4 lengths behind him in Newbury in a novice on his second start of the season. Obviously, Dangerman didn't run his race that day, but still. Beaten by the unbeaten in 2 starts, Gethin, who's unraced since then, which is a bit of a shame. Won the London Gold Cup on handicap debut on his next start. Trainer last won that race with subsequent Group 1 Coronation Cup winner Defoe. He was sent off the 11-4 favourite for that. The third, Key to Bethon, won a Royal Ascot handicap of 93. The fourth, Asman Warrior, won a maiden and second on his last 2 starts. The sixth, Wave Rider, won a 10-furlong maiden. The seventh, Circus of Rome, is unbeaten in his next 2 starts. Up 6 pounds, but unexposed. He's off since May, but he's taken on a bunch of exposed owl yokes here, with the exception of Dangerman. How far does Sadad win by? George Gorman.
Well, given you gave the intro, I'll just touch on Alpha Crucius quickly. He would won every single mil of the 17 to hit the track. It'd be a career high winning mark for him, but look, he was good enough to finish 4th in the Lincoln once upon a time. He is a very talented horse, but he does need some cut in the ground. That's evidenced by the fact he's 5. He's only run, I think, 19, 20 times. He's only run 3 times this season. That's the rub of it, as well as when they need the soft ground to run. Not only are they not running, they're not getting dropped.
Yeah.
Like, shows he's still on a high enough mark, but if it went soft there, if it were to go soft, he always has a chance. But the second it goes soft, he won't be 12-1 anymore. He's one of those horses. He's very, very talented, but he will need all of the rain that's forecast. Danger Man's obvious place to start, really, isn't he? I think could prove, especially if that Desert Shadows won earlier in the day, £9 hike for winning by 4 lengths from that horse could prove to be very beneficial. I think if anything, the handicap has been quite lenient with him. Like, he got a Racing Post rating of 96 for that win the last day. He's still off 89 here. Probably going to take a fair bit of beating. The James Tate horse would be of interest. Flying Frontier as well. I think escaped very lightly for a £1 rise for beating Sir Busker by a neck here the last time over course and distance. And again, it's one of those tracks, Sandown, especially on the round course. It takes some knowing. It's a very stiff finish, and course and distance form does tend to come to the fore. And this horse has done it. He's done it twice this year. So that horse would be, I'd say probably would be top of my list. Like, he's pretty unexposed still, and I like the course and distance sort of angle of it. And the fact he's only up £1 for winning the last day when looking to have a bit more in hand still. So I'll land on Flying Frontier, although I have a lot of respect for Danger Man, and probably they're not quite favourite, but probably should go off favourite, Danger Man.
Okay, Andy Newton.
Yeah, Flying Frontier actually won this race, George, last year.
There you go. Yeah.
There you go. So yeah, that was its run 3 races ago. So it's been a bit lightly raced since then. May and July, like you say, one last time out. Be that Sir Busker, only up £1. So yeah, it's 2 from 3 at the track, which is a massive plus. James Tate does all right as well. 31% overall strike rate at Sandown. Obviously giving it a bit of a break, like a couple of months to prepare for its defence. So yeah, there's a lot going for Flying Frontier, certainly. Castle Cove probably wants a bit more rain, so if that comes, the Haggis horse is probably of interest. It won on soft at Chester a couple of runs ago, and then looked a bit one pace at Goodwood last time out. That Muster Zeed, the Harry Eustace one, is probably worth another mention as well. If the rain comes, looks like it might be running into form. If you watched that race last time out, last season as well, I think it did well this time of the year. Sort of, I think it won in September and it did all right at the end of August. So that's a big price, that Mustazeed. But I'm with you here, Emmet. Look, you reeled off all the winners that have come in behind that Sadad last time out. The Royal Ascot one that we put up as well, that Q de Bethane one, and you reeled them all off. The 4th, the 5th, the 6th, the 7th have all come out and won. And they're giving it a bit of a break, 3.5 months or so off. And yeah, I just think that's the solid form in the book. Danger Man, look, those 2 runs that it's won recently was slightly lower grade, I think. So it's up to a class 2, up £9, a bit more needed, I think, even though the course of distance form is a plus. So yeah, look, Sadid, and I wouldn't put you off that Mustazeed at a big price as well. And last year's winner, that's going to be there or thereabouts. But yeah.
22-1 about Mustazeed, but let's go, Andy. Let's go. Do it again. Sadid. Peter Michael.
Yeah, 14 runners. I would narrow this down to 4 and probably 3, and I'd be shocked if anything else won it. I agree with you guys. Sadid has to be there. Dangerman has to be there. Castle Cove has to be there. And an outsider who could surprise is Gosden Theory of Tides around 25-1. He could be a sneaky bet, but I think, to be honest, I think this will go to one of the top 3 in the betting: Dangerman, Sadid, or Castle Cove. I wouldn't be surprised if Theory of Tides upset them, but I was very impressed with Dangerman the last time. He's 2 for 2 with blinkers. I loved the way he went about it. I quickly tracked him and said he'll be winning more off whatever his revised mark is. I don't know. If it goes soft, I have no idea if he's going to handle it or not. So that makes it a guessing game. I'm guessing the gun's going to ease, given the amount of rain forecast.
It should.
And that will really suit Castle Cove, who is definitely crying out for 12 furlongs, But in saying that, I think he could have nearly won last time. I thought that was. I'm a big Tom O'Connor fan, but I thought that wasn't his finest moment in the horse. Now this horse is going to improve a good bit for 2 more furlongs, but obviously he doesn't have it tomorrow. But softer ground will help, with that. So if it does go soft, I might favour him over Danger Man, just because I don't know how Danger Man's going to handle the form. But Danger Man's a horse that I would definitely be keeping on side, even if he loses tomorrow on Saturday. And Sadad, I mean, you guys have pointed out everything, and his form is there for everyone to see. The only worry is he's been off 105 days, so I'm guessing a niggly injury. But he's another one who could be very competitive off 101 given his form. But just because he's up against 2 horses who I think are progressive and they're race fit and sharp, I might just put them ahead of him. And it depends on the ground. If it stays if it's good to soft, I'd go with Danger Man. But if it's softish ground, I'd go Castle Cove. But I definitely would also be back in Danger Man as well.
Okay. Are you going to have a few quid on Theory of Tides? Beaten 36 links, 29 links, and 10 links, but now first run of the season, first runner for gelding up. Yeah,
well, the reason, at that price I would, because he won first time out, like last year on his debut. He's been gelded. He lost his way, as we can see. He lost his way. He ran an Ascot, and he's lost his way badly. I mean, he's only beaten 6 horses in the last 3 races. But he's been kept in trailing. He's been gelded. So if he's going, I'm looking at it that way, that if he's going to have a big run in him, it could well be on Saturday, because he obviously goes well fresh, and he's been gelded. But look, he might not be 91 horse, and these are progressive horses he's up against. But if he won at 25 to 1 and I didn't have a 5 or a 10 on him to cover the other bets, I deserve that then, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But look, as I said, the top 3 in this race, I'd be very surprised if anything else won it.
It is handicap debut off a mark of 95, but gets to run now off a mark of 91. Interesting. It's possible that Sadad's going to need this race, but he's surely better.
It's a good handicap, isn't it? Because I was really looking forward to seeing Danger Man and Castle Cove both run next time. And the thing about this track will suit Danger Man. He'll go to the front and he'll have his way, and he'll just keep winding it up, and he'll hit the line very strong. It's just we don't know what the ground's going to be and if he's going to go on it if it's soft,
Yeah. He's faced Key both on twice. He's beaten him twice. Obviously, that horse has gone on to win at Royal Ascot. Hot Shot is deceptively, I think he's better than he's shown so far. He was 100 to 1 for a Royal Ascot handicap, but he's only beaten 6 lengths. There's going to be a decent enough race in that horse, by the way, at some point, and he's been gelded, I've just seen as well, which would be interesting. But Sadad, given
last year's winner, Flying Frontier, that won it on good ground as well. So it's worth mentioning. I don't think it's run on anything but softer, really. So good to soft once. But
yeah.
Dangerman as well, I should say, lads, is another one who I'd love to see over 2 furlongs more. But obviously, he's clearly got the pace for 10 furlongs. But he's an exciting horse for Gosling with, well, not for Gosling, but I mean, a horse like this improving with a trainer like that.
Yeah.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, and that was a really smart performance at odds on at Sandown the other day. He did it visually.
Yeah, it was
very impressive.
I really liked how he did that. Yeah,
I really like London Gold Cup winners. I think they're horses that tend to progress an awful lot. King's Gambit didn't quite, but a lot of them do. Okay.
Well, listen, I agree with you guys. That definitely has the best form here. But the other 2 are very progressive and they're race,
Yeah. Okay. The one race at Chester we're going to talk about is the 7.5 furlong Virgin Bet Support Safe Gambling Handicap. It's a Class 2, 14 runners. How many of them are going to be non-runners when they've got their double figure draw? Oh no! He hasn't eaten up this morning, so he can't run. Oh, what a shame! So, real pity that.
Did I tell you I heard quite a funny one Bandle about at Ascot? I think. I'm sure it's not libelous to say, but there was a certain horse that was withdrawn at Ascot after the draw came out because it had an allergic reaction, was the reason given. And I was like, an allergic reaction to stool fucking 2.
allergic reaction.
Which I thought was fantastic. I hadn't heard that before.
Well,
the 2 favourites here have drawn high, haven't they? So
yeah.
I tell you what, if the ground goes soft at Chester, you probably these days they come stand side and they finish fast and late. So if it's soft ground in Chester, I'd rather be high than low. And even I've also found as well, sometimes they overwater the inside Chester these days.
I think there's lots of people who'd rather be high as well. But let's wrap up this show, shall we? Array is potentially going to be not feeling particularly well that day. Golden Mind may very well have picked up what I've picked up. Focal infection of some kind. And poor old Perfect Port, he may very well be missing this race as well with his high draw, unless they all decide it is better being high. 3:15, who wins it, George?
Am I sounding like Graham Roadway there?
Yeah, look, I've mine on drawn like eye-catchingly well, but
they might get some work on. They're a waffler. They've been years around here waffling.
Don't play that for yourself. Come on.
Yeah, mine aren't drawn particularly low, but again, like if it does get wet, I wouldn't like him to be right down on the rail anyway. First would be Hawksbill for Hugo Palmer, who's had a few winners in the last couple of weeks there. Only beaten a nose the last day. That was his second run off a gelding operation. He's up £4 for his exertions there, but the introduction of cheap pieces here, as well as being now third run back from a gelding op, gives me some hope he can be competitive off that mark. And then towards the midway in the betting anyway, Yennefer is, I think, a three-time, at least a twice course winner, might be a three-time course winner at Chester over 7 furlongs. Somehow managed to stay off 92 despite finishing second off 91 2 starts back, and then second off this mark last time. Those were at York and Doncaster. So off this sort of mark, a return to such a unconventional track where he is clearly effective, I think, will be in his favour. So it'll be Hawksbill and Yennefer for me.
Andy Newton.
Well, look, I think that Too Tempting, who won this race last year, is going to go off favourite. The draw is the problem in 10. It won it last year from draw 7. We've mentioned the draw already, right? 8 of the last 9 have been drawn 3 to 7, right? So, everyone goes on about Chester drawn 1 and 2. Actually, this race hasn't really favoured the really low 1 and 2 stalls. So something there. Like I say, the draw 10 is a bit of a niggle. It won it off 95 last year. It's off 96, only £1 higher. It's 2 from 2 at Chester. Like I say, it won it last year, and it's already getting backed, right? This will go off favourite, I reckon. 2 Tempting, this Jonathan Portman thing. Laid out for it again, won it last year. And then the other two, I agree with you, George. Yennefer actually came 5th in this race last year. So it's only beaten a couple of lengths. So, likes Chester, as you said. And I think that Thunder Roar, ignore its last run. It's woeful on your weather. I think it's 0 from 5, back on the turf, better strike rate, 4 from 19. And I think it's hit the top 13 of the last 19, that Thunder Roar. That could bounce back price as well. But another one that's drawn fairly high. But yeah, Too Tempting. Is Too Tempting.
He's done us a few favours on the podcast, that old horse. What about you, Peter Michael?
Well, I'm going to take one of my passes on this one, if that's all right.
That's fine. Let's go straight to the Curragh, shall we? Peter and I are just going to rattle through a couple of the group races very, very quickly. So we've got the Group 2, Group 3, indeed, the Newtown Manor Stud Irish EBF race for fillies. A little bit of a surprise to me is that Ryan Moore is going to side with Sugar Island, the daughter of Dubawi out of Heaven and Earth. She was a good winner on debut, but she wasn't as impressive, I thought, as Moments of Joy, who's then been third in the Cheltenham Stakes, where she was well fancied for that race. And the form is obviously, well, it has been franked. The Secret Adversaries come out and run well. Venetian Lace is placed in group company, having decided to rugby tackle a couple of horses on her way in the following race. Cape Sumion is highly tried. She's been bumping into Ballantina, Composing, and Precise, all of whom have franked the form. Maybe she'll pop up in a valuable race. She deserves to take her chance, but she's probably exposed. But the one that is the most interesting one is the horse you can't get a bet on. She's a daughter of Justify and Damson, and she came from, if I remember this correctly, she was coming from off the pace on her debut when everything was being benefited from being ridden on the front end, and there was the headwind, so to try and come from off the pace was pretty difficult, which is why Diamond Nicholas was so eye-catching. But the other horse that was a real takeout from that race was looking for a rainbow, and she's 20 to 1 with a firm who won't let you place a bet.
Yeah, well, Paddy Powers are never good for taking bets, are they? We all know that. But Yeah, look, you have, obviously, Aidan has the favourite here, and he's got the second favourite, and he normally mops up races like these. I don't have the stats. That's Andy for the stats. But Sugar Island, I think, surprised Aidan on debut when he won. I don't think he was expecting him to win. That was his quote. But she kind of had the race won from 3 furlongs out, even though she was niggled all the way. So it was kind of a funny run, but she's going to leave that behind. Obviously, you can't rule out Moments of Joy. Queen of Hawaii was, fast finisher in debut and then won impressively Leopardstown. But yeah, to be honest, I think there's a bit of value in looking for Rainbow, and also La Fogata, Jared Lyons' horse as well, the two outsiders here. I think one of them will go close. I'd be more on the side of looking for a Rainbow because, I think that was a good maiden she ran in when she was, what was she beaten, 3 1/4 lengths?
Yeah.
It was a juvenile race, whatever it wasn't a maiden, whatever they call it. But I like that run. She has to build on it to figure. So always, you never know how a horse is going to progress from first to second run. But she's value. I'd have her more around 6, 7, 8 to 1 for this race. And La Fogata, could outrun that price as well. Look, it wouldn't surprise me if anything won this race, but I'd rather be in a 20 to 1 shot than a 7 to 4 shot, basically,
Still 4 Pete has been all right in this as well. I think 50% of the last 6. So
yeah, she could run La Fogata at 20. Yeah, I'd be playing those two at 20 to 1. I'd favour looking for Rainbow ahead of La Fogata, but at those odds, there's no harm in backing both of them. As you guys were talking earlier, pity there's not 8 runners, there's only 7, so you can only really back them win.
Yeah, it was a juvenile race, so it wasn't a maiden. Fairy Oak for Michael O'Callaghan had gone over to Ascot. She was only beaten 3 lengths by Venetian Sun. Then she wins her next start.
Yeah. I fancied her that day, and I also thought the Ger Lyons horse that day would run well.
One who was sent off favourite,
Yeah, they were well held, and I don't think there was any fluke. I think that was a good race.
I think so too. It's possible those horses didn't run their race. It is possible they didn't.
But there's a line of form, I think now I could be making a fool of myself. I think there's a line of form with Saint Agata that would give. Yeah, there is. Saint Agata was beaten half a length by Sugar Island.
Well, even Yellowstone Lake, the Paddy Toomey horse, was only beaten the neck by Fairy Oak. So even if Fairy Oak didn't run a race, well, Yellowstone Lake probably did. And looking for a Rainbow, she suffered interference in the race as well, if I remember correctly. And she's the most eye-catching one towards the end of the race, outside of Diamond Necklace, who might be Aidan's best juvenile. But juvenile filly, that is.
She did catch the eye, definitely. And with a line through Saint Agata, she could even beat the favourite. But look, Aidan, let's be honest, is a different class to most of the trainers anywhere in the world.
Oh, yeah.
Only God knows how much that horse is going to improve from. By what he said, and if you read between the lines, he didn't have that horse ready. So she could leave that form 10 to 12 pounds behind. And if she does that, she'll be very hard to beat. But at the prices, looking for a Rainbow for me and La Fogata.
Well, bear in mind, Precise made her debut at Ferryhouse. Now, she was very eye-catching, but she was green as grass that day. And a horse who ran all over the track at Ferryhouse is able to go to Goodwood and win in a group race. Like, he's just got incredible strength of depth when it comes to the juvenile fillies. I'm slightly surprised that Ryan didn't choose Moments of Joy. So maybe Sugar Island improves massively, goes and wins this race. But I think the most likely winner is probably Moments of Joy. But the 20 to 1 that is available with a couple of firms about looking for a Rainbow, that's insane. I think that Diamond Necklace.
I can see that going down.
There's a couple of firms that are going 9s. Even that's reasonable. Diamond Necklace is a hugely exciting filly. Composing is obviously the best juvenile filly that Aidan O'Brien has so far. But Diamond Necklace is going to be up there, I think. Okay, that's the 220. 252 is the Round Tower Stakes. This was won last year by Ides of March. And this is simple. Mission Central, how far does he win by?
2 lengths. No, he should. Look, again, as I said in the last race, Aidan O'Brien at these type of races, he's going to win a lot more than he's not going to win. Look, definitely the horse to beat. What is he now? 11 to 8, I think that's the best price.
11 to 8,
Yeah, it's a bit tight, to be honest. I'd rather be back in regional around 6 to 4, 7 to 4 than this horse 11 to 8. Apart from that, you have to respect Red Earth and Joseph's horse as well, who won first Emmet Kennedy and Shafir. But look, Mission Central is the likeliest winner, but I think he's a bit tight price wise.
Yeah, I don't agree. I think anything that's odds against is value. He's an 8-length maiden winner. That's over. Just give him the trophy now. Run the race on the Ballydoyle Gallops and save us all the bother. 1 Mile 1 Snow Fairy Filly Stakes, the Group 3. Red Letter is back out. She's going to be a pretty short price favourite in this for Ger Lyons, and it makes sense. She was back to winners in the winners' enclosure last time out. Maybe she just doesn't enjoy her trips to Britain, for all that it's only been the one, but it wasn't even that bad a run in the Guineas, actually. She was a bit underwhelming, though, in the listed race at Navan. That has to be in the back of your mind. The Goslins are going to send over San Gazelle, and she's been backed into 9-4. Peter.
Yeah, I'd like to see Red Letter win this. I liked her last year. She looked smart. As you said, it just wasn't that bad a run. She was beaten under 3 lengths by Desert Flower at Newmarket, so it wasn't the worst run in the world. But, I would have liked to see her done better after those 2 runs, even though she won last time. So she has a bit to prove. Whether or not she's as good as we were hoping she would be from 2 to 3 is very debatable. I guess we'll learn a little bit more about her on Saturday. She's fully entitled to win this race, so I'd like to see her win. If she doesn't, it would be disappointing.
It would. That San Gazelle cost an awful lot of money, and they've now got to the bottom of her by the looks of things. They got a nice win out of her. She's out of a Juddmonte mare. There's a certain hint of irony if a Juddmonte bred mare comes and beats a Juddmonte horse in this race, but the mare was no great shakes. It's just interesting that they bring her over. Danny Tiltup comes over for the ride. I'm going to leave that as a betting prospect. The 2 that interest me on the card at the Curragh are Mission Central, who will win. And if you can get 20-1 about looking for a rainbow, punish the bookmakers who go that price. Okay, best bets. Best bets. Boys, who are you with? George Gorman, what's your best bet of the weekend?
The nap, I think, for me has to be Blue Bolt in the 225 at Sandown. Next best be Yennefer in the 315 at Chester. And the big price one for sort of my each way swing would be 150 at Sandown, Arctic Grey at about 25-1.
Oh, coming in hot, like it. The man in form, Andy Newton. What have you got for us?
Let's go with 3. Look, the one that a lot of us like, that's Saddad in the 3 o'clock at Sandown. We talked about his form, blah blah blah. All being franked. 2 tempting at Chester. Won it last year. I think that is going to be one to beat in the 315 there. And then the other one that a couple of us came down on at Sandown, 225, looks overpriced. Cajole, the Sheepy Part 1 in that the Gosling horse in that race there, 16-1, looks way too big.
Okay. I'm doing a complete about turn on that. Humidity's the nap. 10-1 is just too big. It's way too big a price. Saddad is next best. Patent will be completed by Cathedral in the 225. Sorry, Andy. She's got the Group 1 form. She's making her debut for the Defoy Yard. They've had 4 winners, I think, in the last 2 weeks for Ammo. So they're going to want to make a point to prove there, and David Egan will have a point to prove as well after getting beaten at odds on last time out of France. But I'm pretty sure that was just the way the race unfolded for her. She wasn't suited by being held up where the French winner was on the front end. You can extend it to a lucky 15 with Crown of Oaks. You can extend it to a lucky 31 if you want with Mission Central. And take out Mission Central if you want, or take out Crown of Oaks, whichever one you think is the too short a price. And replace them with Nostrum on Friday and Chagrin for the we're off to Dubai lucky 63. So that's Humidity, Saddad, Cathedral, Chagrin in the 205 at Beverley, and Nostrum runs in the 408 at Thirsk at 33-1. He's second top rated on Pro Form. He gets a first time tongue tie, and we know how much those Sir Michael Stout horses are all improving for new surroundings. So eventually that horse is going to pop up at a big price, and it may very well be that race. But the main play, Humidity, Saddad, Cathedral, Crown of Oaks, Mission Central, Lucky 31. Best of luck. Peter Michael.
I'll go with the 2 at Beverley. I have a lot that I haven't looked at yet in other races that we haven't discussed, because obviously there's too much racing, we can't go through them all. But I think Crown of Oaks and Regional, I'd be disappointed if one of them doesn't win. And, I half expect both of them to be hard to beat. So I'll go with those 2. Crown of Oaks in the 130, and I think Regional is the 225, is it? Or what time is Regional? Sorry, 205, yeah. 205. The first 2 races, it's bang bang.
The William Hill Beverley Bullet. Have you hit the subscribe button to YouTube. Have you hit the subscribe button to your favorite podcast app? Please do so. It's a massive help to us with the algorithm. It's the only thing we're asking of you. We really appreciate your help. We really appreciate your support of the show. From George Gorman, Andy Newton, Peter Michael, and me, Emmet Kennedy. Shout out Adam Mills. Shout out to you for watching and listening to the Final Furlong podcast. We'll talk to you again very soon. Look after yourself and each other. God bless.
Thanks for spending some time with us on the Final Furlong podcast. We're independent media, so if you like what we do, hit like, share, and subscribe. It's free, it's quick, and it genuinely helps. And if you enjoyed this episode, there's plenty more where that came from. Don't miss out. Subscribe on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and all major platforms, and join us on the gravy train. The Final Furlong podcast, independent, unfiltered, and powered by you.